All right, welcome back to Athletic Every Day, day number 33. We're back at it again with another upper body day. So today was overhead press, front levers, and muscle ups. I'm really starting to think that I can just pare down the main things of the workout to just like 2 or 3 things to focus on, because by the end of the workout, if you're really focusing on 2 major movements or 2 major skills, or even 3, the fourth thing, you're not going to be able to focus on it with enough effort or intention. So I think, although I do have the goal of doing a planche and a handstand, if I really want to progress, it's better to just focus on one thing at a time for the upper body movements. So to prioritize, I think the muscle up, getting a really, really good clean muscle up to the point where like I don't even have to kip at all, so I don't even have to bend my hips. That is the goal I'm closest to and the goal I'm most motivated by, and I'm already doing it most consistently. And the front lever is also what I'm closest to. I'm pretty far off from doing a handstand press up, and I'm also pretty far off from doing a planche. So I think it's better to avoid training those so that I can just divert most of my time on focusing on the overhead press, which will also carry over into the handstand press, at least strength-wise, not necessarily skill-wise, but prioritizing overhead press, muscle up, and front lever on my upper body days. So then I can just focus on those 3 things. They don't necessarily really interfere with each other. Do the muscle ups first. I'm not supersetting them with the overhead press, so they're not going to interfere with that. It's not disruptive. And then I superset the overhead press and the front lever. And because they're working alternate muscle groups, the front lever is primarily a core exercise, lats, a little bit of grip strength, but you could kind of classify it as a pulling exercise, even if it is isometric. It's not a dynamic movement. And obviously overhead press is a pushing movement, vertical pushing. You're not really using many of the same muscles. I mean, you kind of are using the shoulders and the rotator cuff a little bit, but I don't really notice a lot of disruption when I superset my 3 sets of front lever holds with my overhead press, 5 sets of 4. So that is going to be what I'm doing mostly on upper body days for now. And overall today, I'm quite happy with how I performed, to be honest. I was not expecting to be getting 62.5 for 5 sets of 4, which you're seeing now. That's a new PR for 4 reps. Considering my current overhead press 1RM it's either 67.5 or 70, or maybe it's 65, I can't remember. But either way, that's a really, really big gain, considering that's at least 90% 1RM. Or it's around about 90% 1RM, and I'm doing it for 4 reps, so it's my old 1RM. I think, conservatively now, I think I would be able to hit 70 for a 1RM on the overhead press, but we will have to see how that goes. I'm not actually going to be testing it. I may test it once at the end of this 5-week cycle to see what number I can get. It would be nice to get around about 70 kilos plus, but the main focus here is how this transfers over into obviously handstands and Olympic weightlifting. So how the overhead press or the strict press, whatever you want to call it, will carry over into obviously my push press, and then obviously how my push press will carry over into my split jerk. So that's just the sort of thoughts that were going through my mind when I was doing this workout. I think it's best to focus on one thing at a time, or as few things as possible at once that aren't going to disrupt each other, before you get anything else in place. And it just makes training a lot more simple, a lot more easily. I mean, the number one goal of my training right now isn't even anything upper body focused, it's jumping higher. But on the off days, if you train upper body, it's not going to disrupt the lower body significantly. So I figured I would just get it in, and I train every day anyway. So it makes sense then to try and get as much work as possible as you can in that's not going to disrupt all the other higher priority work. With regards to muscle ups, at the moment I'm doing 3 sets of 3 to 5 reps. I'm trying to make sure that I can do them as clean as possible, but the reps that you saw earlier, obviously they weren't the best. As with any movement, the reps always start out with a much cleaner form, but then as the set goes on, as you get more and more fatigued, you'll find that the form tends to decrease. So if I can get 5 clean, like I know what a clean muscle up feels like, and you'll know what it looks like when you see them when I do them. It's when you don't, for me, the cleanest muscle up for me is when I'm not kipping at all, I'm not bending my knees excessively, and I'm just getting a very small amount of hinging at the hips to give me that momentum to pull me over. But I think there's a lot more of working on that hollow body position, that sort of posterior pelvic tilt, keeping the rectus abdominis, the core engaged, to keep that sort of slight arc in the body. You'll see it if you see someone doing a hollow body position. After you watch this, go and Google hollow body position and you'll know what I mean, if you haven't seen it already. But definitely improving that position and training the core in that way will help to improve the body position and how well I'm able to get that transition period when I come over in the muscle up. That being said, though, overall this was a good training session. I'm happy with how I performed. New 4RM on the strict press. Muscle up form's coming along quite nicely. Front lever is probably the biggest thing that I'm lagging on because it is an isometric exercise. I haven't been training it that much in the past, so it's going to take some time to improve on that, but we'll see how that goes. That is it for today, and I will catch you guys in the next one.